was fully neutralized in May 2009. During our bilateral discussions earlier this evening, the Prime Minister Imran Khan and I agreed to work closely towards enhancing our bilateral cooperation in the economic sector and a number of other areas including trade, investments, science, technology, defense and education. We also agreed to pursue the opportunities presented within the framework of the Pakistan-Sri Lanka Free Trade Agreement. Our talks also focused on important regional and international issues as well as the impact of the coronavirus pandemic. We further agreed to work towards increasing activities in the tourism and aviation sectors. Sri Lanka is grateful to Pakistan for agreeing to open the pilgrimage corridors for Sri Lanka to visit ancient Buddhist heritage sites in Pakistan, and the important decision we made is to present. We will start parliamentary interaction through the Pakistan-Sri Lanka Parliamentary Friendship Groups. Sri Lanka believes that political stability and regional peace will be the key to achieve sustainable development, economic growth and prosperity in South Asia. I admire Prime Minister Khan for his efforts in alleviating poverty and social economic disparity, which play an important part of our development agenda. We continue to work together to fight terrorism, religious fundamentalism and extremism. In our talks, we agreed to continue with the common mechanism to curb illegal drug trafficking, arms smuggling and other illegal activities by sharing information through the relevant agencies. We are also thankful to Pakistan for the partnership in the field of sports and assisting to enhance sports training facilities in the country. Tomorrow, the Prime Minister Imran Khan will preside over a business and investment forum, which is a strong multi-sector business delegation from Pakistan through direct interactions with the Sri Lankan counterparts. We expect to see a considerable increase in investments and business activities between our two countries. While thanking the Prime Minister Imran Khan and the delegation for undertaking this official visit to Sri Lanka, I am deeply grateful to you and for honoring Sri Lanka with your visit here. Thank you very much.
Mr. Prime Minister, let me just again thank you for inviting me and my delegation to Sri Lanka and extending your hospitality to us. I want to thank you. As you quite rightly said, I'm not a stranger to Sri Lanka. I came first time when I was just out of university, and when you were starting your political career, I was starting my cricketing career. And I have very fond memories since then of Sri Lanka. And I want to say that we watched Sri Lankan cricket team develop from a non-test playing status to eventually a team that went on to win the World Cup, and World Cup winning in Pakistan. So me and the cricketers who saw the evolution of the Sri Lankan cricket team, we felt good because it was a team from the subcontinent that emerged into a world-class cricket team. So I just wanted to mention that because that was my association with Sri Lanka until this visit of mine. This visit is to strengthen our bilateral relationship. It is to strengthen our trading ties. Pakistan is part of the Belt and Road Initiative of China. CPEC is one of its flagship program, and it means connectivity. And so I've asked my delegation here to find ways and means where we can enhance our trade and connectivity. And through CPEC, connectivity right up to Central Asia for Sri Lanka. We have also discussed other areas where we can enhance our trading ties, where Sri Lanka can benefit from Pakistan's connectivity in the future right up to Central Asia. And our trading ties will also mean that the two countries will get together, will come closer together. We shared a common problem of terrorism. Pakistan suffered 10 years of the worst kind of terrorism, where we lost 70,000 people. And we know that Sri Lanka for 30 years combated terrorism. And I'm pleased to say that Pakistan played its part in helping Sri Lanka to resolve this problem, which was impeding your development and your growth. And a country which relies on tourism can never progress if there is terrorism. Can't have investment if there is terrorism, because that's what happened to Pakistan. In those 10 years, tourism dried up and hardly any investment came into Pakistan because of the threat of terrorism. So we share that common problem, and now we have faced another problem, which is the coronavirus. I know Sri Lanka has suffered like all those countries which depend upon tourism. And we discussed how the developed countries can help the developing world at this time. But the developed world right now should not be insular. They must realize that this is a problem that has afflicted everyone, but specifically it has hit the poor countries more, and the poor in all the countries much more. The poor have suffered everywhere, but the poor countries have suffered the most. So we have discussed how we can jointly work on the poor countries from getting debt relief. In Pakistan, we came up with the biggest stimulus package in our history, $8 billion. But when you compare the United States, the stimulus package in the United States is almost $3,000 billion. US has a population of 330 million. Pakistan's population is 220 million, 70% of the US. And yet the total amount of money we could give as a stimulus package because of those who suffered from the coronavirus was $8 billion compared to $3,000 billion in the US. So this is the discrepancy. And the coronavirus has exposed this huge inequality in the world. And that's why I feel that the world organizations like the United Nations should step in and look after the countries that have taken a real beating because of this coronavirus. Apart from that, Mr. Prime Minister, I want to invite you again in front of the media to Pakistan. And Pakistan has probably one of the greatest Buddhist heritage in the world. We recently discovered a sleeping Buddha, which is probably the biggest in the world. It's a 40 feet sleeping Buddha. because the north of Pakistan was the center of the Gandhara civilization, the ancient Buddhist civilization. So we are also going to invite people from Sri Lanka to come over, and we are planning a Buddhist trail where all the great shrines and places for those from the Buddhist community, the religion, can come over to our country. And of course, I start with inviting you most of all, Mr. Prime Minister. And thank you again for your hospitality.
Well, thank you very much. And thank you very much for
वज़ीर आज़म पाकिस्तान इमरान खान और श्रीलंकन वज़ीर आज़म महिंदा राजापक्से की मुश्तरका न्यूज़ कॉन्फ्रेंस आप मुलाहिज़ा कर रहे थे। इस कॉन्फ्रेंस में वज़ीर आज़म इमरान खान की जानिब से कहा गया कि श्रीलंकन वज़ीर आज़म की दावत और उनके शानदार इस्तकबाल पर श्रीलंकन वज़ीर आज़म का शुक्रिया अदा करता हूँ। मेरे दौरे का मकसद दोनों ममालिक के दरमियान दो तरफा ताल्लुकात को मज़ीद मजबूत करना है। श्रीलंकन हम